Carmela, have you ever gone by a different name?
Well, I have a lot of nicknames, but I've always mostly used the same name.
Okay, well, have you ever known anyone who has gone by a name that was not their birth name?
Well, our dog had a different name other than his birth name. He had a lot of different names.
Okay, I can see where this is going. Okay, anyway, today we're going to learn about and taste and review a wine that has many different names depending on where it comes from.
Wow, that's going to be fun.
Hello, and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of a reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime who's rolling her eyes, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair.
I wasn't rolling my eyes.
You kind of put your head on your hand on your head.
That's different than rolling your eyes.
It's similar. Okay, A quick orientation for those of you who may be new to the podcast. In each episode, we learn about and taste and give our brutally honest review of 3 wines that are reasonably priced, and that means under $20 each, and should be easy for you to find. And look, our podcast is made for people who want to learn more about wine and find new wines to enjoy and just want someone to please talk about wine in a way that normal people understand.
Exactly.
So if that sounds like you're in the right place.
Woo.
And we are proud to say that we have been featured recently in the Mercury News, and we are recommended by the editors of Decanter magazine who call us fun, irreverent,
chatty,
and entertaining.
Wow.
Okay, today, Carmela, we are coming back to a red wine. So we've done white wines for a little bit. We're coming back to a red wine, or at least a red wine grape, that we have been talking about in several different episodes for a while now. And the original name of this wine that we've been using is Mourvèdre.
Oh.
Or, as it's known in Spain, Monastrell.
Wow.
And by the way, as we said in the introduction, it has more names even than that.
Oh my goodness.
And
confusing.
we are going to learn just what the F Monastrell is, because it's a what the F episode.
All right.
One of our favorites.
One of your favorites.
One of my favorites.
No, it's a fun one.
Okay, we're going to go backwards a bit, though. You ready, Carmela? We're going to go backwards a bit. Okay, so first in April, we did a mini-sode that was basically a primer. It's a primer, not a primer. A primer on red wine blends. And in it, we explained that one of the 2 classicist, I don't know.
Oh, I don't think so.
Red wine blends is the GSM blend. The
right.
GSM blend. Also known as the Rhone style blend.
Okay.
And by the way, the other classic red wine blend is the Bordeaux blend, but that's for another day.
Okay.
Okay, now in the GSM blend, the G stands for
Grenache.
And the S stands for
Syrah.
And the M stands for
Mourvèdre.
Yeah, good job.
Give me a G.
But again, at least
give me an S. It's like a cheer. And I was not a cheerleader.
Team. No, you weren't. You were a player.
Woo.
I mean, like a soccer player, not a player.
Wow.
Okay, but maybe you were
My
kind of a player. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, Mourvèdre is at least the way the grape name is pronounced in France.
Jeez, that was a tough one for me.
Yeah, but no, you got it. But when we talk about those grapes in Spain, Grenache is actually pronounced Grenacha.
Ah.
And Mourvèdre.
I gotcha, Grenache.
That's right, I gotcha, Grenache. And Mourvèdre is called Monastrell.
Ah.
And Syrah just stays plain old Syrah.
Hurrah.
That's right.
Hurrah,
they just keep it that
Syrah.
way. Okay, then in early June, we did an episode where we further demystified the GSM blend itself, and we tried 2 GSM blends from Côte du Rhône, which is the area of France, the Rhône, where they're most famously from. And then we also did a GSM blend from southern Australia, where Syrah is called Shiraz.
Oh my
All these different names, right?
No wonder I can't keep it straight.
And just for good measure, Monastrell is not only known as Mourvèdre, but it's also known by the name Mataro in other parts of the world. And by the way, according to Wikipedia, which you can always trust, Wikipedia, it never has any false information.
Right.
They say that grape has as many as 95 different names.
I don't get it. Like, are these nicknames? Is it like
95?
Yeah. What? Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like from different languages?
Languages, places, people, who knows? But it's kind of confusing,
Might be kind of a special wine for all these little cute little extra names, nicknames, and I don't know.
Well, that's what we're going to find out.
Okay.
And so actually on that note, I thought it would be kind of fun to do an episode on this one varietal in the GSM blend that just doesn't get enough love. Because people talk about Grenache and people talk a lot about Syrah, but who talks about Mourvèdre?
No, who can even say it, especially when it has so many names?
That's right. And then we're going to talk about it as Monastrell because we're just not going to use that Mourvèdre very much anymore. We're going to talk about it as Monastrell.
Okay.
Same grape, same thing. Okay. And then the reason why, you may ask why, Carmela, why Monastrell and not Mourvèdre?
Why?
Good
You may ask yourself.
That's right. How did I get here? So the reason why is when I was looking around for wines, it was much easier to find reasonably priced Monastrell than Mourvèdre. So these are really reasonably priced wines, and I think that's why we're going to be doing this episode of Monastrell, and an extra special reason why we're going to say WTF is Monastrell, because I'm not sure a lot of people know what Monastrell is, or even that it is another name for Mourvèdre. And even with Mourvèdre, I don't think most people know what Mourvèdre is, and I don't think most people have tasted it. I'm not sure we have tasted it.
Okay, I'm surely in that camp then. That's surely who I am. And my name is not Shirley.
Shirley, and you're not at camp.
No.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
We are going to taste. We're going to go to tasting camp. We're going to go to wine tasting camp.
Okay, that doesn't sound right.
No, it does sound right. It's
tasting camp.
It sounds so right.
Well, for us.
That's what we are talking about us.
Oh my God.
We're not going to bring little kids there.
What if they had a tasting camp for adults?
Maybe we're going to start one. We're going to start our own wine tasting camp.
I think we're onto something.
Okay, well, can we get back onto this?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to taste and review 3 Monastrell wines from Spain, and which will be really fun because not only have we not tasted Monastrell, but I don't know that we don't do a lot of wines from Spain.
No.
And Spain makes a ton of wines. So I think it's about time. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get to it in just a second because we've been kind of neglecting these Spanish wines. But first,
we got to do our shameless plug.
That's right. First, we want to thank you very much for listening to us and supporting our show. And if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, by the by. Now would be a really awesome time.
That was, you kind of mixed it up there.
By the by.
Wow.
To subscribe to our podcast, super easy. There's a little button somewhere where you're looking at this podcast right now, and you can just click that button and you'll subscribe. And it's a great free way to support us, and then you never have to miss a show. Mm-hmm. And another great way to support us is to leave a nice rating and review on Apple Podcasts or on our website or wherever you can do that kind of thing. And that helps us grow our listeners. And don't you want to help us grow?
Yeah. And I want you to weigh in too. Like, tell us, should we do a tasting camp?
Yeah. And would you come to our tasting camp?
I mean, really, we need to know.
And how much would you pay to come to our tasting camp?
What should we charge? What would make sense?
And don't say nothing, because that's not realistic.
That's not. Yeah.
Okay. And then you can also find us and follow us and see pictures of the wines we're tasting and all sorts of fun stuff on Instagram at the Wine Pair Podcast. And we're also on Threads, but frankly, I'm not doing anything on Threads. But hey, follow us anyway. And then you can go to our website, thewinepairpodcast.com, and you can sign up for our newsletter, our fun newsletter with recipes and all sorts of fun stuff in it. And as we do every week, we're going to tell you someone we think you should tell about the Wine Pair Podcast. And this week, what we want to do, Carmela, is we want you to think about someone who you know who has a connection with Spain. Now, they may be that they speak Spanish.
True.
Or it could be that they visited Spain or they went to school in Spain.
Or they're going to go to Spain.
Yeah, or their background is Spanish.
Or they went to tasting camp in Spain.
Or maybe they make a mean paella. Or they love paella. Or something like that.
I think that's a good one.
And so think of that person right now. Close your eyes, think of that person. And send them this episode via link. No, send them a link to this episode.
We're not just trying to by osmosis
No, it's not ESPN.
Oh, ESPN. Yeah, either one. Jeez.
No. All right. Are you ready to learn just what the F Monastrell is?
I'm ready.
Okay. In Spain, which is where Monastrell is from, right? Monastrell comes from the east coast of Spain on the Mediterranean side of the country, an area known as Levante. Although what I'm learning, I don't know this, I learned this online, that the people who live in Levante don't call it Levante. We call it Levante, but other people don't call it that.
Wow, all these different names. What the heck?
Exactly.
Wow, it's a thing, I think.
You're right, it is a thing. And according to one source I found online that you can find in the links in our show notes for this episode. So if you just go to our website and go to this episode and look at the show notes, you can find it. Monastrell, the grape, is actually thought to be native to Spain, like originated in Spain. And the wine is supposed to be very old and possibly brought to Spain. Well, I guess it was brought from somewhere else by the Phoenicians in 500 BC.
Wow.
To the town of Valencia.
Amazing. How did you find all this out?
Well, on the interwebs. And in fact,
look it up.
I have another source that I used that was called Simply Spanish Wine, which by the name you would think should be an authority on Spanish wine.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm hoping so, and they're not just lying to me. But Monastrell and Syrah share some of the same characteristics.
Okay.
So that's what they say, like a black fruit taste or spiciness and a rich taste overall.
What about how it's grown?
That I don't know.
Oh,
but I think they're grown I think they're grown in similar areas because because of GSM blend, all that kind of stuff. But I am going to talk about how it's grown and some things about growing. Are you ready already?
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Good segue. In Spain, Monastrell is the fourth most widely planted red wine varietal, although it's been declining over the last several years because of the growth of Cabernet.
Criminy.
God, that darn Cabernet keeps pushing people out of the way. We're going to push back. We're pushing back, Monastrell.
Right. Standing up, advocating for this other grape.
Monastrell.
Whoa.
Monastrell. Okay, some of the best Monastrell, by the way, Carmela, is supposed to come from the wine regions, or DOs, as they're known in Spain, these designated origin areas. In the areas of Jumila, I don't know how to say it quite right, Bulas and Vecla, which is in the province of Murcia. And that's where Monastrell actually still makes up 80% of the wine grapes that are grown. So that's a whole lot. And then there's other places like Alicante, Valencia, and Almansa. And by the way, one of the wines, two of the wines that we're tasting today are from Alicante, and one is from Jumila. I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
Jumila. Huh?
Jumila. It's Jumilla. Maybe it's Jumilla. I don't know. Jumilla. How about it's Jumilla? I don't know. Somebody let us know how you say it.
How off we are.
Now, evidently, this area of Spain that Monastrell is grown in is pretty damn hot.
Ooh,
it's hot.
Okay.
And it's pretty dry.
All year long?
I think so. I mean, it's just a hot, dry place.
Okay.
And that's why a grape like Monastrell can do well there, because Monastrell is evidently a very hardy grape. It's pretty resistant to heat and dry weather. And it's also that area, or the areas where it's grown, the vines are usually very, very old. And in fact, one of our wines today calls itself an old vines wine. So there you go.
Okay.
Now, on that note, Carmela, I am told that you are supposed to look for the words Pie Franco, Piefranco, Pie Franco on a bottle of Spanish wine. And that means that those grapes are grown on vines that were not grafted with American grapes. So if you don't know anything about the history of wines in Europe, and I just know a little bit, there was a disease that went through the wines in Europe called phylloxera, and it destroyed a lot of grapes. And so they found that the grape vines in the United States were more resistant, and so they would graft them. But in Spain, they didn't do a lot of that. And so if you find that term Pie Franco on the bottle, it means these are ungrafted grape vines. And so they're the originals.
More pure.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, traditional Monastrell is supposed to be a big, heavy, high alcohol, high tannin, punch you in the face wine, as we like to
just
say.
what we love.
Yeah, but evidently some producers are starting to make more subtle, more softer wines. And so we're going to see if we can tell today from the wines that we're drinking, which is which, or maybe none of them. I don't know. Okay. We don't know. We've never had it before.
No.
I will also note that sometimes Monastrell can be found in Spanish cava, although I've heard it's also unusual. Okay. When I say heard, I mean I read it on the internet.
Right.
And then
nobody whispered in your ear.
No, nobody whispered it. Sweet nothings in my ear. And then sometimes it can also be made into a rosé wine, which I'm sure is delicious.
I bet.
Yeah. But today we're not doing rosé. We're not doing cava. We're doing plain old, good old red wine.
Whoa! Are you so happy, honey?
I'm so happy because, again, we haven't done a lot of Spanish wines. We haven't done a lot of Spanish reds.
No.
I mean, I think mostly Spanish wines, we've done a lot of whites. And we we don't do a lot of Spanish wines other than cava. Like we drink a lot of cava and we love that. But I think it's a great opportunity to learn more about this wine and really taste and see what we think about it. Maybe we'll find that it's a new go-to red wine. And again, it might be that it's a wine that we don't love because we don't tend to gravitate towards these sort of bigger red wines. But maybe if you do, and you can kind of judge by the way that we talk about it and describe it, maybe this will be a great wine for you. Like maybe if you love a nice Cabernet, this will be a good one for you.
You like a little punch in the face.
If you like to be punched in the face.
You might love this.
That's right.
Then you might want to try it out.
Yeah. So I think on that note, it's time to learn a little bit more about these specific wines that we chose for this episode, Carmela.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm looking out the window and I don't know what I'm looking at. Now you're looking out the window.
We're both
don't you find that when somebody starts looking at something, you're like, what am I, what's going on?
Yeah, what do you see?
Should I be looking?
I
don't know.
I don't want to be, like missing out.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing out on.
Did I miss something?
I don't know. I'm missing it.
Did you miss out?
I miss you.
I miss you too.
No, you don't.
I don't miss
You're
you.
right here.
Yeah, that would be weird.
You don't? She doesn't miss me.
Well, wait. Why would I miss you? I miss you when you're not here.
Okay. This has gone down
Okay,
such a
move
weird
on.
path.
All
right.
right. They don't need to hear that.
No, that's gross. Okay. As usual, all the wines we have chosen for this episode are under $20, and all of them should be relatively easy to find because I found them all on wine.com.
Perfect.
So if you got an internet thing, an interwebs machine, a Google machine, you can find it.
Wow.
And I do think you can find these wines relatively easily if you go into a wine shop with a good wine selection. Now, if you go to your like crappy grocery store wine selection down the street, you probably won't find them.
Okay.
Maybe you will, but I don't think you will.
Okay.
But, you know, if you go to a wine shop that specializes in European wines or has a good Spanish wine selection, you're definitely going to find it.
Okay, good.
And then one thing I'll say about these wines, not only were they very reasonably priced, all of them had really good ratings, like really strong ratings.
Great.
And I don't mean from James Suckling.
I was just going to ask. You wouldn't have said great ratings if it was Jimmy.
No, because I think if any of you have listened to our podcast, you know that we
don't trust him.
We don't trust James Suckling. But no, places we trust have given it really good ratings.
Oh, good.
Okay, so let's talk about our first wine. The first wine is called Bodega Sierra Salinas Mo.
Wow.
Mo. And it comes from Alicante, Spain. And we have the 2019 vintage for this wine, so there's a little tiny bit of age on it. And by the way, like a lot of red wines, especially bigger red wines, they probably should be opened up a little bit before you drink them. And so these wines have been open now for about half an hour. So that's good. That's about enough time for a red wine.
How did you open them?
With a wine opener.
Okay, they weren't screw caps.
No screw caps in the bunch.
Okay.
Yes. And then the winery that makes these wines was founded in the year 2000. So it's not that old. And they have converted all the vineyards to be organic and they use dry farming. Now, we've talked about this before, but dry farming is exactly what it sounds like. They don't use any irrigation.
Wow.
They just use whatever natural rainfall or moisture is in the air. That's what the grapes get.
So weather or like that for that year can really determine the grape.
Exactly.
I wonder how much it changes from year to year.
I'm sure quite a bit does, but it also, you know, they have to use grapes like Monastrell if they're going to do this, obviously,
right?
That can tolerate that kind of stuff.
The heat.
Yeah. So their dry farming, by the way, then is considered very natural because you're just using the elements. You're just using what's natural in the climates. And the grapes come from relatively old vines in vineyards planted between 20 and 50 years ago with an average age of 35 years. And from what I can tell, Carmel, I don't think they oak their wines. So this is what the website says. And I actually find that a little bit surprising because usually big red wines are oaked.
Right.
But this one may not be. This is what they say. You ready?
Yes.
The grapes are sorted rigorously and are destemmed at the bodega. The grapes macerate and ferment in open-top stainless steel vats, and the free-run wine is transferred by gravity to a lower stainless steel tank for aging. The fermenting grapes are transferred by gravity to the press, and then again by gravity to stainless steel tanks. There's a lot of gravity.
It's like a horror show here.
It's a lot of gravity going on. And then they are aged 6 to 8 months in stainless steel tanks to preserve freshness and soften tannins.
Wow.
That's the story. So I don't hear any oak in there. I hear a lot of gravity.
Really
interesting. A lot of stainless steel. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I'm also super excited to see how this wine tastes. It's a pretty high alcohol wine. It's 14.5% alcohol.
Wow.
And it was $10.99. So,
okay.
You know,
this could be really a good wine.
Yeah.
Could be really what we love.
Now wait until you hear about this next one. You ready? Okay. The next one is called Eagle Bodegas Mourvèdre, and it was number 47 in Wine Spectator's Top 100 of 2022.
Okay.
It also got a 90 from Wine Enthusiasts and our friends at Decanter. And Wine Enthusiasts also called it a best buy, and it's also $10.99.
My God.
So if this
could
is a good
be a
wine,
battle of the bodegas.
yeah, and bodega battle in the bodega. But if this is a good wine at $10.99, give me a break.
Yeah, true. A bodega breako.
Give me a bodega break. And like the last wine, the winery uses certified organic farmed grapes. And in this case, the vineyards are about 25 years old on average. And they also claim that their grapes are harvested by hand, which sounds like a lot of work.
Okay.
But I don't have a lot of other information about this wine. So I think we go to wine number 3. Okay, so the last wine we're going to drink is called Bodegas.
Oh my God. It is the battle of the bodegas.
Yeah, they all have the same first name. Bodegas Mourvèdre Tarima Hill Old Vines. And this one got a 92 rating from Wine Spectator.
Wow.
And it's a 2019, but it was a very expensive $16.99.
Breaking the bank.
No, still very reasonable, especially for a 92 rating from Wine Spectator.
Incredible.
Now, I do know that this wine is aged in oak. Because they say it.
Okay.
They say they let it age in French oak for 14 months. And again, as we've mentioned, French oak is more mellow than American oak, but still it's in oak. They say the grapes are fermented in stainless steel with indigenous yeast. So you're using natural indigenous yeast and then transferred to the new French oak. They also harvest their grapes by hand. And when they say old vines, they really do mean old vines. The vines come from plants that are from 1935 to 1970 in their origin. So they're old. And I think this one may be that Pia Franco.
Okay.
Pia Franco.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to check it out.
ungrafted. Yeah. They also use organic farming. They also use dry farming methods, and they use minimal human intervention. So again, very natural. Mm-hmm.
No intervention from the humans.
No. None at all. At some point, they have to hand harvest them, but minimal human intervention. And they also say that the soils the grapes are grown in are very chalky. So I'm really interested to see if this comes out in the wine.
Right.
And they also are grown at relatively high altitudes, about 2,500 feet. And it's also an unfined and unfiltered wine, which means it's vegan.
Oh,
Go vegan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I'll just say this on an editorial note.
Okay.
I feel like I'm really noticing a lot of wines from this area of the world, like Spain and Portugal, etc., using a lot of these natural, organic, low intervention. Like we did our interview with Rita Pinto at Quinta de Pinto Wines, and she was talking about that. I think this is kind of, it sounds modern or new, it's organic and all this, but it's actually very ancient. It's a very old style of winemaking. And I just kind of feel like it's making a
almost
bit
like
of a comeback.
I would say they're almost like they're bringing it back.
Yeah. So this will be really interesting. So we have these 3 Monastrell wines. They're all from Spain. And so I think we need to get drinking. What do you think?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we're going to take a break and we're going to try our first wine.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our first wine. This is one of the many bodegas. This is Bodegas Sierra Salinas Mo, and this is from Alicante, Spain. This is a 2019 vintage wine. It was, again, $10.99 at wine.com. It's 14.5% alcohol, and as far as I know, it's 100% Monastrell. It got a 90 from Wilfred Wong, an 89 from Jeb Dunnock, and a 91 from James Suckling. But let's see what...
So he was in the mix.
He was in the mix, but we're counting the Wilfred Wong. Okay, what are you smelling, Carmela?
Well, I am getting some cherry, some dark cherry.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. What are you getting?
Yeah, cherry for sure. Spice, a lot of spice.
Like pepper or baking spices?
More pepper, but I actually do think I'm getting a little paprika and maybe a little cinnamon too.
I was going to say, I am getting a little bit of I don't know if it's cinnamon or a little bit of nutmeg, maybe.
Ooh, yeah, it's spicy. It's rich. Like it smells like a rich wine.
Mm-hmm. It's nice.
It's maybe a little bit of earth on the back end of it when I kind of swirl it. Yeah, it's rich though. It's got like this.
Yeah, I'm wondering because this one was not oaked, right?
I don't think so. Yeah. So let's try it and see what we think.
Ooh, juicy.
Really juicy.
Really juicy. A little bit of like tang or something like I don't know if it's citrus or just like I thought maybe it smelled more like a black or dark riper cherry, but it's maybe kind of a Bing cherry, like a little less, just not, it's a little bit tart, like tart cherry.
You know what I feel like I'm tasting a little bit are cherry skins or grape skins. Like I think that's where I'm getting that tang. It's almost that really tannic kind of taste of the skin, which is delicious. It's actually really nice.
Yeah, it is.
I like it. And it's a nice wine. It's not as rich. I don't think it's not as, the smell was more complex, I think, than the taste, but it's a rich wine and it actually dries off the tongue pretty quick. So it's got, it's a little bit of dryness to it for how, it's tannic, it's a big mouthfeel wine, but it doesn't linger in your mouth forever. I actually think this would be good with food.
Yeah, no, I think so. What would you have with it?
Well, I mean, to me, this is a red meat wine.
Yeah, it's definitely, I can smell the alcohol. I can kind of taste it. It tastes a little alcohol-y to me. Not in a bad way, but it's definitely like strong. Like you said, rich. There's something very rich, especially on the back end of it.
Yeah, there's some other taste in it that I can't quite get to, but let's go back to food. I think it's, again, red meat wine. It's stews. I think it'd be good with stews. I think it would be good with fire, like fire roasted foods, even fire roasted vegetables.
Like a wood oven.
Yeah, totally.
Too. Like you could do pizza with this. I feel like a nice multi-meat pizza.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too.
It's nice.
It's very nice. Smoky, a little smokiness to it.
It reminds me of winter or fall winter wine. Warm. It's a heater wine. It's going to warm you up.
It is a heater.
Yeah, especially, I mean, it's high in alcohol, but it also it kind of, you almost feel it in your body.
Like you can feel it going down.
Exactly.
But it's not like a gut, like
It's not like a burning or uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have heartache. No.
Heartache. Nothing
No,
but a heartache.
it's actually heartburn is what I meant to say.
Heartburn.
God.
We got
Wait,
heartburn
wait a minute.
acid
Where did heartache come
know.
from? Oh, man.
I don't know, but I'm a little bit worried that was some sort of like Freudian slip or
It's
something.
not like heartache.
Jesus, what does that mean? Okay, let's rate this wine. So as a reminder, I got to get out of this conversation. As a reminder, on our rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10. And again, 7 or above means we're going to buy it. And a 4 or below means we think it suck. And a 5 or a 6 means it's okay. We'll finish it. I'm not going to buy it, but I won't throw it out.
Okay.
So what rating would you give this wine?
Well, it's not typically my style or something I'm going to normally, but I am enjoying it. Like I would want to eat with this. Okay. So I think I would buy it. I think I'm going to give it a 7.
Yeah, I kind of thought you were going to give it a 7.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a really solid 8.
Oh.
Like I like this wine. I think it's a nice wine. I would serve it to your father. That's a good bar. Like
Okay.
it's a nice wine.
It's kind of up his alley then a bit too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's high QPR. Like it does not taste like an $11 wine.
Right.
I don't think so. I think if you put this side by side some really big, expensive Cabernet, I think you'd fool everybody. I think they would not expect that this is a $10.99 wine.
That is great news.
Yeah, really good wine. I think this is really good. And at that price, like this isn't what I would generally call a crowd pleaser. In terms of like crowd pleasers, usually a little softer, a little bit like,
right.
But this is like, if you're having a party and you want to impress people, $10.99, this is a really good price for a great wine.
Right. You don't have to spend a lot to really wow
to make
people.
An impression.
Right.
That's what I keep telling you, Carmela.
Wait.
You don't have to spend a lot to make an
I
impression.
know. I'm always spending a lot on you, aren't I? Like,
me?
Yeah. I'm like,
That's not
going to the grocery store.
That's not what I thought you were going to say. Grocery store. Okay. At the grocery store. And on that note, we're going to take a break and we're going to try our next one.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we are ready to try our next wine. This one is called Ego Bodegas Goru Verde.
Lego my ego? Oh,
No, you didn't even let me finish.
I'm sorry.
Ego Bodegas Goru Verde. And this is from Jumilla, Spain. I don't know how to say it. It's Jumilla. This is a 2020. This is $10.99 again. Got it at wine.com. It's also 14.5% alcohol. Again, 100% Monastrell as far as I know. And this one, Wine Spectator gave it a 90. This is, again, one of their top 100 wines. Decanter gave it a 90. And Wine Enthusiast gave it a 90.
Wow.
So what are you smelling?
Well,
This one's different.
Yeah, and it's smokier to me. Like right out of the gate, it's just smokier, like matchstick, kind of fresh, like freshly blown out match smoke.
Very much.
Yeah,
very
what do you
much
think?
smokier. Yeah. And yeah, wood smoke. It's very much got that. I'm getting like cherry, but it's just like it's a whole different experience. It's a lot more. This one has to be oaked.
Yeah.
This one has to be oaked.
Yeah, I think it's, and you didn't know for sure.
No,
Okay.
but this one has even though it's like this rich smell, it still smells more like a sweet cherry to me, not like a black cherry, but maybe a more tart cherry.
Okay,
Like it's got that kind of smell.
The other one had to me kind of a darker cherry, a richer cherry,
Yeah.
and then the taste was a little lighter or a little more tart.
Yeah, this one's got a lot going on in the smell though. Maybe a little bit of leather too. Might be getting a little bit of leather.
Yeah. It's less fruity. On the nose.
Actually, you know what I was going to say when I first smelled it? Now you're reminding me is flowers. It smelled like flowers to me, like roses or some strong flower.
It's a little like it's not off, but I feel like it's a little like attic-y.
It might be young, actually. I mean, it's only a 2020. I think it might be young. Okay, let's taste it.
Different.
It's different, but it's mellower than it smells.
Yeah.
It does have that smokiness. Like it's rich. It's like
It's
rich,
a different tasting wine than the first one.
It is.
I'm not getting as much cherry on it, but I can kind of taste that little bit of floral or flower, kind of like you said, a rose. Yeah, more of a like an old fashioned type of smell to it too, or taste. I mean,
Yeah, this is kind of reminding me of an Italian wine. Like it's got
what would you compare it to?
Like it's kind of got a little bit of that it's not quite tar and roses like the Nebbiolo tar and roses, but it's got that rose. Maybe it's more like a wooden rose, like you were saying, like that matchstick. It's nice. It's a really nice wine. Again, it's like I think it's a super solid wine. It's not as jammy as the last one. I think the first one was jammier. This one's also got nice. You know what I also like about these wines is that they're ending pretty clean. Like they have a good,
I agree.
Yeah, they have a good mouthfeel to them, but they don't like. I was talking to I'll release the interview on it in a while. The Stoller winemaker, great guy, Carl Weichhold. Anyway, he talked about wines that are like cocktail wines. We talk about this, like cocktail wines. This is not a cocktail wine. This is a wine that's meant to be had with food.
Right, I agree.
And because it's like, it doesn't linger. It's not fat in the mouth over an extended period of time. It cleans out. And to me, this is like, man, again, like I know we're going to talk about food. Again, another like kind of steak,
right?
Rich
Roast.
food. This is also like pizza, pasta, rich foods. Like this would do real with rich foods. I think it would do well with creamy foods too.
Yeah. You could definitely do. You know what's funny? I think you could do like a red sauce, like a big bolognese.
Totally.
But you could also do like what is that? Like a stroganoff, like something with beef and like you said, like a creamy sauce that went along with it would be really nice.
I think this wine to me is very versatile. I don't know that it's quite that. The first one is a little bit more of like your Cabernet lover's wine, I think. This one is a little bit more of that kind of laid back, austere, like a little bit more European style. That's why I kind of
a little more
also
formal, do you think?
Yeah, also more a little bit subtler. A little more subtle. That's why I'm kind of comparing it to an Italian wine because it's not a bash you in the face wine.
No,
it's
now
not
we're bashing.
Well, punch, bash, whatever, same diff.
Okay.
But it's just not. It's more elegant to me. It's a really nice wine.
The other one, it's funny because I do think the other one was like a little more. It tasted younger to me.
It did, even though this one is younger.
Yeah, that's why I'm not really understanding why, but it had just a little bit of tartness. Or youth on it. But this one is, like you said, a little more sophisticated.
Like me. A little more sophisticated.
Sort of.
And elegant.
Very elegant.
And subtle.
Well.
Like me.
You're definitely elegant.
Is that what you say when you go to the grocery store for me? What kind of a crack was that?
Well,
I buy things for you at the grocery store.
Well, because I'm not a big spender, but I do spend a lot at the grocery store.
On me. But you said specifically on me at the grocery store.
Well, when it's just you and me, you eat at least 50% of the food.
That was a really polite way of saying gordo. Okay, anyway. Okay, let's rate this wine. Look it up, people. Look it up, club.
Yeah.
It's Italian. Okay, let's rate this wine. What rating would you give this wine a Carmela?
Wow.
That's how they would say it in Spain, by the way. Carmela.
Carmela. And they'd spell it usually with two L's.
And it'd be Carmella.
Oh, no, it would not be. But
no, usually it's one L.
I'm a 1L Carmela.
I think it's a 1L in Spanish because then it would be Carmella.
I don't know about that.
Okay, Spanish speakers unite. Let us know.
Let us know. And again, back to the wine camp. Let us know.
And you can come to wine camp at a 10% discount.
It'll be like
we don't know what the price is yet, but it's a 10% discount.
Yeah. So
what are you going to rate it?
I'm going to give this one a 7 also.
Okay. And I'm giving this one an 8 also.
Perfect. Oh, that was loud.
That was really loud.
Sorry,
I don't know how to. I can't.
You going to be able to edit that?
No, it's just going to break people's eardrums. No, I think another wine. Different though. Different. Better, but different. No.
Different, better. And better, but different.
No, different wine, but still very good. I'm really surprised by how much I'm liking these wines.
I'm so glad.
They're really nice.
Yeah, they are.
They're really nice. Okay, we're going to take a break and we're going to try our last wine and see if we feel the same way about it.
Okay.
All right, we are back and we are ready to try our last Monastrell. This is the Bodegas Mourvèdre Tarima Hill Old Vines. It's from Alicante, Spain. This is a 2019. This was a whole $16.99. We got it at wine.com. This is 15% alcohol. And again, 100% Monastrell as far as we know. And it got a 92 rating from Wine Spectator. So Carmela, now you weren't so sure about it when you started smelling it. What are you smelling?
I'm kind of getting wood on it. I'm actually maybe getting a little bit of like a red plum.
Okay.
What are you getting?
This one's very flowery to me. Even more flowery than the last one.
Like what kind of flower? Are we doing rose again, do you think?
Rose, but this is almost even got a little bit of like rose perfume or a potpourri kind of smell.
So it's kind of
like
sweet?
Spray. Yeah, like and a little
artificial?
Alcohol. Maybe a little bit, but more like alcohol-y, like if rose petals were dipped in alcohol. But I'm getting some of that smell, but I'm getting wood and leather. I'm getting an earthy kind of smell and a little bit of leather on it for sure.
Yeah, I am getting that because I'm definitely the wood, and it's almost like, I don't know, like a driftwood, like an old wood.
Ooh, driftwood. I
don't
like
know,
driftwood.
something like, I'm thinking of being at the beach, and I feel like there's a little bit of a beach wood smell.
Yeah, I can totally buy that. And leather. I'm getting like shoe leather. It smells like shoe leather.
I can smell that for sure.
Yeah, there's something sweet on it, like a really sweet smell on it. Rose or flower sweet smell. I can get that
more
plum.
flower than fruit for you.
I mean, I'm getting a little bit of cherry again.
Okay.
But maybe it's also just black fruit, like a blackberry or something like that. It's like a dark fruit.
Okay. You're getting a lot on this one.
Yeah. Okay, let's try it and see what we think.
Okay. Ooh, sweet.
It's much sweeter. It's not the taste that I expected, but it's got I take that back. It has the taste that I smelled. But the other ones had a smell and the taste was a little different.
Right.
This one tasted like it smelled. I expected actually to be a little richer, and it's not. It's a little sharper to me than I expected. It could be young. I'm going to say again, this could be a very young wine.
It's oakier or it's tannic.
Yeah, definitely tannic.
Yeah.
You can taste the French oak. You can taste the French oak.
That's for sure. Yeah, it's not in a bad way, but it's not cleaning off your tongue as easily as like the first one.
No, I have to say of the three wines, this is so far my least favorite. I'm not actually that crazy about it.
It's a little more of a punch you in the face.
A little bit. It's just super. I feel like it's probably young. I feel like it's super sharp. We talk about that sharp taste, like really alcohol-y, kind of astringent.
Sort of edgy.
Yeah, but it's edgy. But like astringent. It's astringent.
Yes.
Like alcohol-y kind of taste. Like almost like it has too much alcohol in it for the weight of the wine. That's what I'm feeling like.
And this is another high alcohol.
This is 15%.
Yeah, that's incredible.
This is really high.
Wow.
So I don't feel like it has the mouthfeel or the tannin to like kind of stand up to that level of alcohol. And again, it might be that it's just too young.
Yeah. Interesting. What are you going to eat with this one?
It's probably the same stuff. I actually think it would do really well with like grilled foods, like grilled meats on the, like grilled ribs or, grilled
something smoky.
Something smoky would do really well. Smoked sausage, smoked foods. I think you're totally right.
Yeah.
Brisket, like a smoked brisket would be good.
That would be
with
really nice. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe like sharp cheeses or something. This one would probably be a fine pizza wine or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this actually with charcuterie too, like with different like cured meats.
Go ahead.
Do you think like cured meats and very sharp cheese? Like I wouldn't do anything light. It would be something bigger,
Yeah, it's funny. Like
you're in thought.
I'm pensive. I'm thinking. I just think it's an okay wine. I'm not sure. I think if I hadn't tasted the first two first, I would, because I was kind of having expectations about what Monastrell tastes like. And this is just kind of like breaking the mold. So I don't know if I'm not liking it as much because it's just different,
right?
Or because I don't like it
if you'd had it separate.
Yeah,
from the
like
other
would
two.
I say, oh, this is a pretty good.
Or if you had this one first.
Yeah, exactly. If I would think differently about it, but just not as crazy about it.
I'm not really either.
What would you rate it?
You know what? I'm probably something like this. Like I'm probably going to give it like a 5.
Okay, a 5. I'm going to probably give it a 6, and it would be a really, really that's a low rating. Like I think a 6 might be too harsh, but I just think, and I don't usually like to do relative, but I think relative to the first two, I don't like it as much.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing when you're number 3 sometimes.
Yeah, and I wouldn't really buy it. I don't think of the 3, this is not the one I'd buy. Ironically, or I don't know if it's ironic. Interestingly enough, this was the most expensive.
Right.
So I just think that's interesting. So which of these 3 are you going to finish tonight, Carmela?
Well, gosh, it's, you know what? It's really kind of a toss-up between the first two.
I agree.
I don't really have, I don't love, they're different. I'd probably say the second one.
Yeah.
I think I'd go with the second one. It's a little smoother. First one to me tasted a little young.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. We're going to fight over that bottle tonight. So now what overall is your impression of, because this is a WTF, like, is this a new red wine? Like, what do you think?
I think it's a great one to have in your back pocket. Like, this would be, like you said, I feel like it would really please a lot of people. And the price is just right.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm going to actually, hate to do this, but I'm going to go back to the second wine. I might give it a 9.
Wow.
It's just such a good wine. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm going to give it a 9, and maybe I'll regret that at some point in my life.
Geez, you don't want to regret it.
But it's just so like it's like for $10.99.
Own it, babe.
I know, own it. For $10.99, I'm just having a hard time believing you can find a better wine at that price point. I just don't think you can. It's such a good wine.
That's so tasty. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the taste profiles expected from Monastrell. Wine Folly says blackberry, black pepper, cocoa, tobacco, and roasted meat. Simply Spanish Wine says black fruit, aromatic herbs, licorice, pepper, jammy, leathery. The Bodega Sierra Salinas Mo, Jeb Danik says lots of red and blue fruits as well as violet and peppery herb-like aromas and flavors. Medium-bodied, supple, rounded, juicy. And the winery says aromas of fresh red fruits with hints of spices and freshly baked bread. That's interesting.
Okay.
For the Ego Bodegas, a wine spectator said this bright red ripples across the palate with savory hints of cured tobacco, loamy earth, underscoring the black currant and black raspberry fruit. Chewy tannins. The winery says black cherry with purple violet hues, clean, fragrant with a bouquet of spices, violets, and blueberries. And then Wine Enthusiast, I think that's what I was tasting, what the winery said. Wine Enthusiast said this offers aromas of black currant, anisette, and thyme.
Okay, I can get behind the anisette.
Yeah, okay.
Especially with how rich in alcohol.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
And then it says a network of glossy tannins support flavors of blackberry, purple plum, Turkish delight, and licorice. Ooh. And the finish is softly framed by floral and spice notes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the Bodegas Volvera, the winery says raspberries, blueberries, spices, hints of balsamic. That's interesting. Okay. I can taste that now.
Yeah, that tangy, alcohol-y.
Yeah, I think balsamic is a good descriptor.
Yes.
And then Wine Spectator says an aromatic underpinning of tarry smoke and medicinal herbs. And it serves as a savory counterpoint to the ripe flavors of creme de cassis, blackberry preserves, licorice, and espresso crema.
Espresso.
Citrus peel acidity. I think you would probably agree with that. Mm-hmm. Expressive flavor range resulting in a powerful, harmonious version. So anyway, I think we did okay. I think we would probably disagree with some of the descriptors on the last one. But again, I'm just not sure how much I'm being influenced by the first two.
True.
So there you go.
That was really fun.
We have a good red wine.
Yes.
A new one to add.
Another go-to.
That's right. And one that we would never have thought about choosing.
Which is so much fun. Like just putting yourself out there, trying something new.
You gotta try it, people.
What is it? Give me oh no, that's a different wine.
That's the M in the GSM.
Right. Give me an M.
There it is.
Yeah. That means say M.
You really weren't a cheerleader, were you?
No.
You don't even
Everybody
know how to
knows it. Well, they all know that now.
That's right. All right, Carmela. It's time for us to go. But before we do, we want to thank you very much for listening to us. And if you haven't done so yet, now would be a really good time to press that subscribe button.
Oh my
Why
God.
don't you do it? And then you can
Never. Then you can never.
Then you can never miss an episode.
That's kind of a weird phrase. Okay. Can never.
You can never. And then you can leave us a rating and review. We would love that. We would be very special to us. And we will call you out if you do that. Okay?
And Wine Camp, are you in
That's
or
right.
out?
Are you in or out of Wine Camp? And in fact, if you're in or out, go to our website, leave us a message or send us an email at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com and let us know. Are you in or out?
And
Wine Camp?
we may explore it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Set up a few tents. Bring a few bottles of wine.
Woohoo! And then
no driving.
No driving. And then if you go to our website, you can also sign up for our newsletter. So do that. And then you can also follow us on Instagram and Threads at the Wine Pair Podcast and all that kind of fun stuff. And with that, we're going to say bye-bye and thank you for listening to us. And we'll see you next time. And as we like to say, life is short. So stop drinking that shitty wine. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao. Adios. Adios. Bye-bye.
Always think too much, always drink too much, always pray too much, always play too much. And when I'm with you too much, I fall in love too much. And when I'm away too much,